Hello guys and welcome back to TechWolf, and today we are going to dive into CISCO CCNA practice test exam questions. And like I was mentioning in my other tests, to test your knowledge, grab a piece of paper and write down the correct answers by marking how many questions you get right from this test. And no further ado, let's get into it. Question number 1. You are configuring a small office network with a Cisco switch. A user reports they cannot connect to the network after plugging in their device into a switch port. Question. What is the most likely cause if the switch port is in the default configuration? The port is assigned to VLAN 999. The port is in shutdown mode. The port is configured with static IP address. Or the port has a duplex mismatch. And here the correct answer is the port is in shutdown mode. And the explanation is, by default Cisco ports are in a shutdown state until explicitly enabled with no shutdown command in interface configuration mode. And this is a common oversight in initial configurations. You need to assign an IP address to a router interface for a subnet with 60 hosts. Question. Which subnet mask should you use to accommodate at least 60 hosts while minimizing wasted addresses? And here are 4 possible answers. Check them carefully. And here the correct answer is 255.255.255.192 with CIDR 26. As to determine the subnet mask, 60 hosts require at least 62 addresses, where 60 would be for hosts, 1 for network and 1 for broadcast. A network technician configures OSPF on 2 routers, but they fail to form adjacency. Which of the following could prevent OSPF adjacency? Mismatched MTU settings, identical router IDs, using passive interface on both routers, different OSPF process IDs. Here the correct answer is mismatched MTU settings. As OSPF requires matching MTU, maximum transmission unit, values on neighboring interfaces to form an adjacency, and mismatched MTUs cause the routers to get stuck in the X start state. You are troubleshooting a network where PC cannot ping a server on a different subnet. What is the most likely issue if the PC can ping its default gateway? The default gateway is not routing traffic. The server's IP address is misconfigured. The switch has a VLAN mismatch. Or the PC has an incorrect subnet mask. And the correct answer here is the default gateway is not routing traffic. If the PC can ping its default gateway, its local configuration IT subnet mask is likely correct. The issue lies beyond the gateway. Most likely the router default gateway isn't forwarding packets to the server's subnet due to missing routes or disabled routing. You are setting up a static route on a Cisco router to reach a remote network 192.168.10.0 with CIDR 24 via next hop 10.0.0.2, which command correctly configures this static route. And here you need to know commands. Go through these commands and try to figure which is the correct one. And the correct answer here is this one, IP route 192.168.10.0. The correct syntax for static route is IP route, destination network and subnet mask, and next hop. A switch has multiple devices connected and you need to prevent unauthorized devices from accessing the network. Which feature should you configure on the switch ports? Spanning tree protocol or STP, port security, VLAN pruning, or Ether channel. And here the correct answer is port security. As port security limits the number of MAC addresses allowed on a switch port and can shut down the port if an unauthorized device connects. A network uses RIP as its routing protocol, but a new subnet isn't appearing in the routing table. What is likely reason for this issue? RIP is not enabled on the interface. The subnet is using CIDR 31 mask. The router's OSPF process is overriding RIP, or the subnet mask is variable length VLSM. So which one is the correct answer here? And the correct answer here is that the subnet mask is variable length or VLSM. As RIP version 1 doesn't support VLSM variable length subnet masking and assumes classful mask. If a new subnet uses VLSM, RIP won't advertise it unless RIP version 2 is enabled with version 2 and no auto summary. You are configuring NAT on a router to allow internal hosts to access the internet. Which command enables dynamic NAT using ACL named inside and pool named public? And the answers are IP NAT inside source list inside pool public, IP NAT inside source static inside public, IP NAT outside source list inside pool public, or IP NAT pool inside list public. And here the correct answer is IP NAT inside source list inside pool public. As dynamic NAT maps internal addresses defined by ACL inside to a pool of public IPs public. The correct command is IP NAT inside source list ACL pool name. A network has two switches connected with redundant links, and you observe a broadcast storm. What is the most likely cause? The trunk link is down, the switches are in different VLANs, static route is misconfigured, or spanning tree protocol STP is disabled. And here the correct answer is that spanning tree protocol STP is disabled, as STP prevents switching loops by blocking redundant paths. If disabled, redundant links between switches can cause broadcast storms as frames loop indefinitely. You are securing a Cisco router and want to restrict telnet access to only a specific management IP 192.168.1.10. Which configuration achieves this? And here also you need to go over these configurations and select the correct one. And here the correct answer is this one. To restrict telnet VTI access, apply an ACL to the VTI lines with access class ACL in. You are designing network with subnets that needs to support 14 hosts. What is the smallest subnet mask you can use? And here are 4 answers from which you can select. You need to select one of these answers which support 14 hosts. And what is the smallest subnet from all of these? And here the correct answer is 255.255.255.240 with CIDR 28. As 14 hosts require 16 addresses, where 14 would be usable, one would be network address, another one would be for broadcasting, and with CIDR 30 it would be 4 addresses, too small. With CIDR 29 it would be 8 addresses, and this is also too small, and with CIDR 28 that would be 16 addresses, which is sufficient and enough for our scenario. With CIDR 27 you would have 32 addresses, larger than needed, and with CIDR 28 it is the smallest mask that works. A router's interface is configured with IP address 192.168.1.1 and subnet mask 255.255.255.0, but it won't ping a host at 192.168.1.100. Question: what is likely issue if the host's configuration is correct? ARP is disabled on the router, the interface is in shutdown mode, the host's default gateway is incorrect, the subnet mask on the router is wrong. And here the correct answer would be the interface is in shutdown mode. As the interface is in shutdown mode, this is the correct answer. If the router's interface is shut down, which is also the default state, it won't respond to a forward traffic, preventing pings. You configure VLAN 10 on a switch and assign ports to it, but devices in VLAN 10 cannot communicate. What is the most likely cause? The switch lacks an IP address, the ports are in access mode, the trunk link is misconfigured, the VLAN is not created on the switch. And here the correct answer is that VLAN is not created on the switch. On Cisco switches, assigning ports to VLAN doesn't automatically create the VLAN. You must explicitly create it with VLAN 10 in VLAN configuration mode. If not created, devices in the VLAN can't communicate. You are configuring a Cisco router with EIGRP and notice it's not sharing routes with neighbors. What must match for EIGRP neighbors to form an adjacency? Router IDs, AS autonomous system number, MTU size, or interface bandwidths. And here the correct answer is AS autonomous system number. As EIGRP requires the same AS number configured with router EIGRP AS for routers to become neighbors and share routes. A network uses DHCP, but a PC is assigned an IP address which starts with 169.254. What does this indicate? The PC's static IP is misconfigured, the router's NAT configuration is incorrect, the DHCP server is down, or the switch port is in the wrong VLAN. And here the correct answer is the DHCP server is down, as that was a IP address. An IP address which starts with 169.254 is an APIP address or automatic private IP addressing address, which is assigned when DHCP client fails to reach DHCP server. This suggests the server is down and unreachable, and the APIP addresses, they are being assigned by devices themselves if they can't reach DHCP server or the DHCP has broken down. You configure a trunk link between two switches, but VLAN traffic isn't passing. What command verifies the trunk status? Show running config, show VLAN brief, show interfaces trunk, show IP interface brief. And here the correct answer is show interfaces trunk. As show interfaces trunk displays trunk link status, including encapsulation, allowed VLANs, and operational mode. A router has two paths to destination, one via OSPF and one via RIP. Which path will the router choose by default? The path with the lowest hop count, RIP, the path with the highest bandwidth, or OSPF. And here the correct answer is OSPF. As Cisco routers use administrative distance AD to choose between routes, OSPF has an AD of 110 while RIP has an AD of 120. Lower administrative distance or AD wins, so OSPF is preferred. You need to configure a switch port as a trunk to carry VLANs 10 and 20 only. Which command restricts the trunk to the VLANs? VLAN 10,20 trunk, switch port access VLAN 10,20, switch port trunk VLAN 10,20, switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10,20. And here the correct answer is switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10,20. Switch port trunk allowed VLAN 10,20 restricts the trunk to only VLANs 10 and 20. A user cannot access the web server, but they can ping it. What is likely cause? The switch has a loop, the server's HTTP service is down, the user's subnet mask is incorrect, or the default gateway is misconfigured. And here the correct answer is the server's HTTP service is down. If ping works, the layer 3 connectivity is fine. The issue is likely at the application layer. e.g. the web server's HTTP service port 80 isn't running. You configure NAT overload path on a router with a single public IP. Which command enables this? So go through these commands and pick one. And here the correct answer is IP NAT inside source list 1 interface gigabit ethernet 0/0 overload. As NAT overload path uses one public IP with port numbers, overload with an interface AG gigabit ethernet 0/0 and ACL list 1 enables this option. You configure a router with IP route 0.0.0.0.0.0.0.0 10.0.0.1. What does this command do? Sets a static route to a specific network, configures default route, assigns an IP to an interface, enables RIP routing. And here the correct answer is that this configures a default route. IP route 0.0.0.0.0.0.0. Next hop is a default route, sending all unknown traffic to 10.0.0.1. It's not a specific route. A switch port shows error disabled after security violation. What caused this? Too many MAC addresses on the port, a duplex mismatch, an STP loop, or trunk misconfiguration. And the correct answer is too many MAC addresses on the port. Error disabled often results from port security violations, such as exceeding the allowed number of MAC addresses. You configure OSPF with network 192.168.1.0, 0.0.0.255 area 0. What does the wildcard mask 0.0.0.255 specify? A Cyber 24 subnet, a Cyber 30 subnet, a single host, or all interfaces? And the correct answer is that it specifies a Cyber 24 subnet. A wildcard mask of 0.0.0.255 matches a 24 subnet, which is 255.255.255.0, and it tells OSPF to advertise interfaces in the 192.168.1.0 to 255 range in area 0. A wireless AP is configured but client cannot connect. What is common configuration error? The switch port is in trunk mode, the VLAN is misconfigured, SSID broadcast is disabled, or the AP has no IP address. And here the correct answer is that SSID broadcast is disabled. If SSID broadcast is disabled, client won't see the network unless they manually enter the SSID. You need to prevent switch from becoming the root bridge in STP. Which command achieves this? Spanning tree VLAN 1 root primary, no spanning tree VLAN 1, spanning tree VLAN 1 priority 61440, or spanning tree VLAN 1 priority 0. And here the correct answer is spanning tree VLAN 1 priority 61440. A higher STP priority, AG 61440, ensures the switch is less likely to become the root. The default is 32768. And here you go guys, another CCNA practice test. If you are interested in more tests, go to the channel's homepage and click on playlist. And there you will find the full playlist with my other CISCO CCNA practice tests. And if you found this video useful, leave a like, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and see you in the next one.